Alright y'all, what is going on? Welcome back to the AJ Plays channel, and today MLW has given me basically another form of content that I can turn into a video. And today that is the MLW Awards. So that ballot has just come out, and I have some picks that I think are fairly obvious, but these are basically my picks, my ballot for the 2025 MLW Awards. Not going to waste any more time, going to get right into it. All right, so to kick things off, Rookie of the Year, we have a lot of good candidates here. We got, again, Sean Hornberger, Brady Pearson, Evan Porter, Jake Sullivan, Dustin Staggs. Now, I want to give my props to both Evan Porter and Sean Hornberger, but they were not on the caliber of the other three this year. I think Hornberger actually was a little bit underrated because even though he was a #1 overall pick, he actually did perform a lot better numbers-wise, especially hitting, than I do remember. However, when it comes to this year's rookie class, there were three really big standouts, and that's Staggs, Sullivan, and Pearson. Out of those three, I think Brady Pearson was a really good hitter. Personally, it's between Staggs and Sullivan. Let's make that abundantly clear. And if I had to pick one of them, because I have to pick one of them, and I know the way MLW works, the playoffs are definitely considered when you have to look at these awards, especially the Rookie of the Year. This is something that's been impacted multiple times. Jimmy Nork got robbed, Jeremy Adams got robbed. These are not even controversial takes. A lot of people think that they got robbed in the previous years. But in my case, as much as Sullivan started hot, I think Dustin Staggs really came around toward the end of the year, and he looked really damn good. Let's make one thing clear, he looked really damn good. And as much as it's a two-horse race, it's really close between these guys, I'm giving it to Staggs, man. I really got to give it to Dustin Staggs for this one. Again, he really put the Gators on, him and Bien really took the reins, especially in the World Series, and got them as far as they did. #2 overall pick in his rookie season in this league. Only bright things to come for Dustin. Now, the Cy Young here has a lot of good talents, especially there's three here that went on deep playoff runs. Jordan Robles, Sawyer B, and Dallas Allen. I'm not considering any of them. None of them. My top two are the top two pitchers this year, and it's really a shame that both those guys missed the playoffs, and that's Caden Irwin and RJ Walgate. Comparing those stats side by side, because they were pretty much identical, dominating on the mound all year. As much as the Cobras went 5-10, the games that they lost 1-0, 2-0, that's because Caden Irwin was absolutely balling out there. No hitting some teams. There were games that, yes, the opponents would win 50-0 because Drew Davis was pitching. That's not a way to win in 2025. So in this case, as much as I am a Magic fan, I'm going to go with Caden Irwin. I do think he had the better season. I think he's going to be the Cy Young this year, but I would not be surprised if recency bias does give it to Robles or Bien instead. I think they're definitely deserving winners, but if you want to talk about the best pitcher in MLW on an even playing field, all 8 teams, it's got to be Caden Irwin. There shouldn't really be a debate here. I think Caden Irwin takes this one for 2025. And now we move on to the Silver Slugger, and here I'm seeing a lot of different ones. This is a two-horse race between Urgaitis and Kratch, okay? Honorable mention here, definitely to Cheatham, because he was fantastic at the plate all season long. However, one thing I do gotta is coming down to Kratch and Urgaitis were the two best hitters this season. And Urgaitis, forget Mr. October, he was Mr. Wiffle all year long, calendar year round. Mr. All Year Round, that's what I'm going to call him now, because he's not even an October demon. He's now become an all-year demon. This guy put up an OPS of $14.99. That sounds like a price at my local McDonald's for a Big Mac combo, bro. But overall, though, there's no denying, once again, Ryan Kratch was a fantastic hitter this year. Would not be surprised if MLW decided, hey, let's give a co-Silver Slugger award. Granted, these are fully viewer-based voting, but there's definitely some impact in there from the Schultzes, from the league board, if you want to call it that. But I still do think this is Ryan Kratch's award to lose, even though, Landon Urgaitis, there's definitely an argument that can be made. Both guys had really good stats this year, but Kratch, again, 9 homers, 361 average. I got the stats in front of me. 9 homers, 361 average, 1746 OPS. You can't be arguing that. He had the best season out of any hitter this year. Gold Glove best fielder. So in this case, there's really only two that stand out to me, but they also stand out every single year. And don't mind me if I'm slighting anybody else on this list. Staggs and Jorgensen were fantastic in the field in the World Series. Drew Davis is always a historically chaotic but very good fielder. You have the always really solid Kyle Schultz and Jimmy Nork. Those two, by far, are the two best fielders in the league. But if there's one player I remember, especially in the playoffs, insane in left field, Jackson Pearson did fantastic on the mound for the Wildcats. But let's make one thing clear: that series against the Eagles was kept so close, and this might actually sway my vote completely. I'm going with Kyle Schultz to win this year's Gold Glove, and I do think he fully deserves it based on some of the plays we have seen in this past season. All right, so now we continue on to the most clutch. Okay, and this is something that I have said multiple times, especially in the World Series recap video I did 2 weeks back. So there's one here that I think it shouldn't really be close. But it's, first off, if there's any candidates here I'm considering, it's the 4 guys here that were in the World Series. And that's, again, and those 4 guys are Sawyer Bean, Jordan Robles, Justin Staggs, and of course, Preston Colm. And I'm going to take Preston Colm again because, yes, Jordan Robles was fantastic on the mound, but let's make one thing abundantly clear. Whenever you needed a big hit out of any of these players, it was always Preston Colm coming in with the clutch RBIs, the clutch hits to drive in runners when the Mallards needed them. And if he's not hitting as well as he did these playoffs, there is no way, there is no world, I don't care how good Robles is pitching. Colm is not hitting as well as he was. There is no way in hell, no way that the Mallards would have won that World Series. I'm giving it to Preston Colm. And this might be insane. Like, this might be a lot of me gassing him up. But as of late, I really think he's become one of the best hitters, if not the best, in MLW. Most improved. Now, when I look at most improved, I want to go ahead and call something out here. Both Justin Ash and Carson Yurgaitis actually had worse statistical seasons than the previous year, okay? Hitting-wise. And they don't pitch. So hitting-wise, they actually had worse statistical seasons. So that gets disqualified here immediately. Preston Colm, even last year, was fantastic as a hitter in the regular season. In the playoffs, that's whatever. That's the playoffs. Tommy did not really manage that Mallards team as well as he did this season. It comes down to 2 guys, and that's Jackson Pearson, who became such a force on the mound, especially in the playoffs. Someone who did turn back the clock, that's Chris Cheatham. Out of nowhere, this guy had his best season since 2020. He has not looked as good in MLW in years, and based on that jump in hitting production from 2024 to 2025, I'm giving it to Chris Cheatham here. Moving on now to most dedication, there are 3 guys that I really considered for this, and it's anybody that really helped with the Pipe It Up podcast on the side, along with everything else that MLW was doing this year. But the main 2 that, so the 2 runner-ups are, it's tied between Levi Fleer and Ty Frensnick. They really jumped in this year. They went ahead and now stepped up. They are basically the co-hosts for the Pipe It Up podcast. Again, those 2 have really stepped up this year for MLW, and they provided a much more youthful outlook on the podcast. So I really think they've done a great job with that. However, someone who's always been fully committed, and again, he's always helping with editing behind the scenes for YouTube Shorts, the main editor of Pipe It Up, the guy who pitched in a series with a torn ACL. He was there even when his team wasn't playing him because Jackson Pearson was so good on the mound. I'm giving this one to Patrick Ballman. Let's make one thing clear. I hope my votes don't sway everything. But I do think Patty Ballman fully deserves most dedication here. Absolutely. But it comes down to these 2 managers here who went to the World Series, and that is Tommy Coughlin and Chris Cheatham. But there's one manager who, I mean, clearly was the better tactician throughout the World Series and all season long. As much as he wasn't really present all season long, he got the job done when it mattered. Actually, hold on a minute. Okay, now that hold on. I'm actually changing my vote. I'm changing my vote live during the video. Manager of the year. As much as Tommy Coughlin did well during the World Series as a manager, Chris Cheatham was there for his team every single series, and he got that team to go as far as they did with the decisions that he made. I'm actually changing my vote here, and I'm going Chris Cheatham over Tommy Coughlin. Mainly because Tommy wasn't at every series. As much as I want to give it to Tommy for winning the World Series, there's only so much that he really did this year. He was only present at 2 of 5 regular season series. So how much credit can you really give him? So I'm giving it to Chris here. He was always there. He really led this team this year, a very young team, got everybody on the same page, and he performed really well too. Manager of the year. I think this is easily Chris Cheatham. All right, and finally the big one, the big award. Here we go. We got the MVP. For the top 2 in my books are easily Cratch and Robles. Now, when you're comparing these 2, statistically, regular season, Robles was a much better pitcher. Cratch was by far the best hitter in MLW. Okay, because the playoffs have so much of a factor in these stats that go into the MVP voting and all the award voting for that matter. I think that's what's going to sway it for me and what's going to give it to Jordan Robles, because as much as Colm was such a fantastic hitter during the World Series, we cannot discredit how good of a pitcher Robles was, how well he navigated the ups and the downs of the playoffs this year. He even hit very well. So you know what? Because MLW does look at it as a whole season thing, and they do really consider the playoffs as well as the regular season when they look at voting, Also because Cratch and Robles had equal playing time in the playoffs, I really got to give this one to Jordan here because he really showed up when it mattered and he showed why he would be the MVP for MLW 2025. So I'm going to go ahead and submit that form. There we go. I can submit another response. What if I just put Gus for all my answers? Anyways, y'all, on that note, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to leave this form in the description below if you want to go ahead and fill out your MLW award ballot. On that note, thank y'all so much for watching this vid. New videos every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Thank y'all so much for watching. I'm going to see y'all next time. Peace out.